History Show tonight at 7:30 on BBC1.
Now, before the 6 o'clock news, the weather prospects from Ian McCaskill.
Well, it's not going to get any warmer. In fact, this deep low thinks it's autumn, and over the next few days it's going to pull some fairly cool air right across the country with a mixture of sunshine and showers. But in the meantime, we have this fairly weak frontal system to get rid of that'll cross the country in the next 18 hours. All this and more on the satellite picture this evening. They were taken just a short time ago. I think you can see that band of frontal cloud up western districts here. That'll come across slowly during the night. And there's the sunshine and showers coming in for tomorrow. Tonight, though, there's that frontal band that'll come gradually southeastwards across the country. Some light rain and drizzle getting across England and Wales too during the night. The southeast staying dry and becoming clearer in the northwest there with 1 or 2 showers, becoming quite windy as well. Then tomorrow, well, becoming quite windy, as you can see, with gales in places in the north west there. Some of the showers quite heavy and blustery too. In the southeast, starting off rather cloudy with a little bit of drizzle in places, but the sun coming through during the morning, brightening up everywhere by afternoon. Then most of the place, a mixture of sunshine and showers, but the great majority of the showers in the northwest. Not very warm anywhere at all, 17 at best, 63 Fahrenheit. And then later on in the day, more rain getting into the southwest. That's it. Good evening to you.
On BBC2 in a moment, James Garner opens up another case from the Rockford Files. This is BBC1. It's 6 o'clock.
The 6 o'clock news from the BBC with Sue Lawley and Nicholas Witchell.
Good evening. The headlines at 6 o'clock. A Soviet defector has returned to Moscow and accused British intelligence of kidnapping him. Oleg Bitov claims he was tortured and brainwashed. He's given the address of safe houses in Britain, names of people in British security. The government says his story is absurd. The dock strike has been called off after 3 weeks. The news helped the pound a little, but it's still under pressure on the foreign exchanges. The banning of police horses on Yorkshire's picket lines. The Home Secretary has said, think again. And the man who crossed the Atlantic safely in a balloon comes down to earth with a mighty bump. A Soviet journalist who defected to this country a year ago turned up back in Moscow this morning, saying that the British Secret Service had kidnapped, tortured and brainwashed him. The story emanating from Moscow matches the best spy fiction of our time, with allegations of kidnap in Venice, forged passports, safe houses and mind-bending drugs. The Home Office has called these charges absurd. The journalist also named 7 people whom he claimed were members of British intelligence. There is evidence today that parts of the journalist's story have a basis in fact. Mysterious flats where the curtains are always closed, a false name in a hotel register, and evasive voices on the end of ex-directory telephones. Oleg Bitov was the editor of a prestige Soviet literary magazine. He asked for asylum here last September, saying he was disillusioned with the Soviet system. He got it. But 3 weeks ago, he disappeared, and he's not been seen again until this morning in the Soviet capital. Peter Ruff attended his news conference to hear the Moscow version of events.
Wearing a smart blue suit and looking tired but not unwell, Bitov made a series of allegations against British intelligence officers. He said they kidnapped and drugged him in Venice a year ago.
Something hit me on the back of my head. I could hardly remember anything after that. When I came to in the morning, my well was paralyzed. I couldn't remember anything.
He listed the names of British officers who he said dealt with him, and he gave telephone numbers and addresses of 2 safe houses which are used by them in London. He said a statement which appeared in his name was forged, but he did accept that he wrote a series of newspaper articles for a British Sunday newspaper, but only to give the appearance that he was cooperating. He was, he said, in fear of his life. Asked about his return to Moscow, Oleg Bitov refused to go into details, saying only that he'd bought the ticket himself and travelled alone. But he promised more information in articles he's planning to write for the Literary Gazette.
The version of events as described by Oleg Bitov. The Home Office says it's absurd to say he was taken and then held by force. Yet there's no doubt Beatoff was kept incommunicado by British intelligence for some months after his defection. Until a few weeks ago, Mr. Beatoff was in the debt of the British authorities for having granted him freedom and protection. But now this new story from Moscow, that he was a captive here. Michael Cole has been taking a closer look at Oleg Beatoff's new version of how he came to be in Britain.
Beatoff's story starts in Venice in early September 1983, the international film festival, the peak of the city's cultural year. Beatoff was covering the festival for the Russian Literary Gazette. As foreign cultural editor, he was one of the Soviet elite permitted regular foreign travel. One night he says he returned to his hotel room. He flicked the light switch, but the lights didn't come on. The next thing he knew, he was hit over the head. He says he was paralyzed by drugs. When I came to in the morning, he says, I found myself deprived of my own volition and good memory and even coordination of movement. He says he was taken to a villa in the